turn this down.
That's not bad. You come around and have a look at the screen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. That's not bad.
A little too shadowy here, but
Yeah, one side is shadowed.
well, we even have two lights, which is
We're
another thing.
hello everybody. Few minutes to start. We're just fooling around with lighting here. Let's see if we get this looking a little better. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's better.
Can I see?
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay.
Is this too much for you, Ajahn? Like, shall I?
Yeah, dim that a little bit if you.
Okay. Oh.
This actually makes better color. It's kind of too red when it's high like that.
Uh-huh. I can dim this one down to here. Minus.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
can go lower so it's not in your forehead. This is better.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting a comment from South Wales that the lighting looks good.
Okay then.
No.
We trust Wales.
South Wales in Australia.
Oh, okay. Well, we trust that part of the world too.
Okay, so somebody from Shropshire in the UK. Yeah, Ajahn Subaru is here. He arrived early this afternoon. Oh, Wales. Sorry, correction.
Uh-huh.
Wales in Wales. So Wales in the UK.
Yeah.
I guess he meant the southern part of Wales.
Uh-huh. Hello, baby. Now you can do what you like.
Germany, Freiburg. Still another 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So this is shadow.
Yes.
Why do you call shadow a Buddha cat? Because
I don't call her a Buddha cat.
oh, you said it's a Buddha cat.
No.
Like that.
No.
No.
No, she's far from a Buddha.
Well, she has that look sometimes.
It's deceptive.
Yes, I know, but still.
Okay. Please say hello to Dantika for me. It's from Sangamite in Canmore.
Sangamite, yes. Where? Yeah.
Mary.
Hello back.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello back to you.
That's where
Dantika's here helping me with the lights. Okay, no, we're getting quite a few people in here. It's still like 3-4 minutes to start.
You know, Ajahn, sometimes when how was it? I think you had very little light coming in, but somehow you had light on your face. So you had almost black background. I mean, dark background. It looked very good.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe one can do something. Like a piece of black fabric or something. It's 6 o'clock. No, I'm kidding.
Where is she from, Ajahn? I hear an accent. That's a Serbian accent. Where's the cat? Oh, she's at her food bowl right now. Sometimes Shadow makes a guest appearance. She jumps up here. Yeah.
That's so nice sometimes, yes. And it's nice that you don't chase her away. Just passes by.
Quick question: are monks allowed to exercise? Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I wonder what it looks like on my laptop. Could you pass me your laptop?
You're not going to be able to connect. It's not, I'm not on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Okay. Does it matter?
You won't be able to connect.
No.
There's no Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming in Ethernet. Yeah. Okay. Almost ready to start. I'm just waiting for the turning of the clock. We got 16 people on.
It's 6 o'clock.
Okay, we'll start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So this week I'm going to start a new series. I'm going to go through the 10 paramitas, the paramis. The paramis are a set of virtues or qualities that are particularly cultivated by the bodhisattva. So to become a Buddha, one has all tend to a state of perfection. In the lesser beings, the development of the paramis is a very useful spiritual accomplishment and is contributory to gaining a state of liberation. The more developed the paramis are. It's generally believed, one often hears it in Asia, that although I have not found really a scriptural source for this, but it's generally believed that the qualities of the paramis are particularly something that is particularly passed on from life to life, so that the development of the paramis in one life will be an asset in future lives, and they will carry forward. And likewise, if you diminish the paramis, then you will lose those spiritual gifts in future lives. There's a list of 10 in Theravada. There's a different list of 6 that you'll see in Mahayana sources under the same name of Mahayana. They call them paramitas. In Pali, it's generally parami, and in Thailand they pronounce it barami. And you sometimes hear it used very informally. If someone is, for example, lucky with money, they'll say, "Oh, you've got good money baramis." But the real meaning of it is these 10 spiritual qualities that are conducive to spiritual growth and awakening, and only a Buddha has them in complete, perfect perfection. In the case of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha of our epoch, he had finished, after hundreds of lifetimes, he'd completed the perfection of all the paramis in the Vasantara birth, his last human birth as King Vasantara. And then he was reborn into Sita heaven, where he remained for a period in human terms of 57 million years. And then when he saw that time was ripe, now he had done all the prerequisites for becoming a Buddha. So he knew the next birth he took would be a human birth, and he would attain Buddhahood. And he determined that time was right at this time and place in Jambudvipa in the Sakyan Republic. And he took a human birth and eventually became the Buddha. So today I'm going to talk about the first parami, which is dana. This is always the first in the list. Dana means generosity, and it is the quality of dana that the Bodhisattva perfected in the Vasantara birth. So it was the last one that he perfected. And excuse me. And when he was sitting under the Bodhi tree, and he was challenged by Mara. Mara challenged him, saying that now you have attained awakening, you no longer belong on this plane of existence. This plane is mine. You should leave. The Buddha declared that he has a witness that he has perfected the paramis. He said, I perfected the paramis in the Vasantara birth, and I call the earth to witness. And he put his hand on the earth. This is the image of the earth touching Buddha, and the earth quaked. So this is the Dana Barami is the first and the last in that sense. It's the first in the list, and it's the last perfected by the Buddha. It's related to the quality of parichaga, which is renunciation or abandonment. And the difference is given, and there's a story in one of the Jatakas about a wealthy man who wanted to disperse all his wealth and become a hermit. And he started giving his goods away, and it was taking too long. He was giving goods to beggars and to anyone who came by his door. but it was taking too long to disperse all his wealth. So in the end, he just opened the doors to his storehouse and had a proclamation in the town. Anyone who wants anything, just come and get it. And he just left and went off into the forest. And it said that when he's giving the gifts directly, that was dana. And then when he abandoned it for any taker, that's parichaga. And dana is considered to, they're both considered meritorious, but dana is considered of a higher merit. When you give a gift by the hand directly, that's true dana. And technically, dana refers, well, it actually has two meanings. The first is dana as the object, the material object that's given is considered dana. But the more precise technical meaning is the volitional mind state of giving. When that arises in the mind, that's a mind of dana, and that's when the actual merit is made, because karma is made by the mind, by the arising of volition or intention, and then the body carries it out. Dana by itself, without any other spiritual virtue, by itself, it tends to a better rebirth. It tends to a more fortunate human rebirth or to a deva birth. The Wamanawatu is a book of verses with associated commentarial stories all about devas and their mansions and their glorious existence. And the normal pattern of the stories is that Moggallana, visiting the heaven worlds, would interview one of these devas and would say, how did you gain this great enjoyment of this palace and all these wonderful things? And the deva would tell some story of his or her human existence, and it's often some simple act of giving. There are different factors that affect the quality of the merit made. One of them is the intention or the goal set in the mind. That's in 3 levels. If one gives a gift with the thought in the mind that I'll gain something in this life, like I'll get a good reputation, people like me, people will think I'm kind and be helpful for me in my relationships. That's the lowest form. The middling form is if one has an ambition and intention to take a higher birth. And there is a sutta that talks about aspirational rebirth. If one, say, wishes to be reborn in a specific place, like to see the heaven, to see the bodhisattva, if one makes merit with that intention in mind, that'll be a strong karmic influence to cause that to happen. It's not a guarantee, but it's a strong influence. But the third and highest aspiration in giving is, may this bring me closer to final liberation. May this bring me closer to the realization of nibbana. And if nibbana is not attained in this lifetime, the storing up of merit to obtain a better birth in next time around in fortunate circumstances is certainly a step in the right direction. It's not easy to attain a human birth, and it's even less easy to obtain a human birth when one has the benefits of leisure to meditate and enough intelligence to understand the teachings, and to be born, especially to be born in a time and place when the teachings are available. So anyone who has that type of a birth, they have attained it by considerable merit made in past lives. And a lot of that would be through the practice of dhamma, generosity. There are other factors that affect the potency of the merit. One of them is the quality of the objects or the dana given. If one is giving, the lowest form is one is giving leftovers or cast-offs. Like you have an old jacket you never wear anymore, so you give it away. That's still a meritorious action, but it's at the low end of the scale. If you give away something that's precious to you, hard to part with, that's the highest end of the scale. There's also variability by the quality of the recipient. Gifts given to a Buddha are of more merit than gifts given to an ordinary person. But the Buddha also said that even higher than giving to the Buddha is to give to the entire Sangha with the Buddha at his head. It's more meritorious to give to the whole Sangha than it is to a single bhikkhu. But even a gift at the low end of the scale, a gift given to an animal, like feeding an animal, the merit accrued can be 100 times the material worth of the food given. And the giving of food produces a karmic result of ayu weno sukang balang, long life, strength, beauty, and happiness. The feeling tone of a meritorious act, like an act of generosity, also has a bearing on the kama. Any act done with joy is more powerful. Joy, in terms of kama, joy acts as, we could say, a kama amplifier. So if you do a bad deed, if you do something cruel or hurtful, and you take relish in it, you enjoy it, that's worse than just doing it coldly, because the karma is stronger associated with joy. But likewise, if you do a good deed, if you make a gift, an act of generosity, then if you do that with a heart full of joy, that's a stronger, more meritorious action. Another factor is sankata, whether the action is prompted or unprompted. Meaning, if you've had to be talked or cajoled into it, or even if you've had to talk yourself into it, you've had to really, I don't know if I really want to part with this, and you that's less powerful karma than if you do it spontaneously, it automatically, just freely. That's called asankata, unprompted. So simple acts of giving are always meritorious, but we see there's many different factors that affect the strength or potency of the giving. Now, I said that one of them is the quality of the recipient, but there's a kind of a proviso to that there's another very virtuous type of giving, which is indiscriminate giving to one and all, which is the particular quality of a bodhisattva. And this is illustrated in the Vasantara birth. Now, this was the last human birth of the Buddha before he became Siddhartha Gautama. And this is considered a very important Jataka, and it's one of the favorite stories in Asian culture, particularly in Thailand. I imagine elsewhere too, but I know in Thailand it's very highly regarded. Vasantara was a king in one of the kingdoms of India, and he early on made the resolution that he would never refuse a gift when asked. And this ended up causing no end of trouble as the word got out. His real trouble began when he was riding through the town on the royal elephant. It was a white elephant, very precious beast, and a Brahmin. And the Brahmins this is a kind of a trope in the Jatakas. The Brahmins are always rascals and greedy in the Jataka stories. A Brahmin came up and asked for the elephant. So the king immediately didn't ask any questions. He immediately dismounts and hands over ownership of the elephant. And this causes the people of the town to revolt against him. They said, this king will ruin us. He's given away our auspicious magical elephant, and who knows what he'll give away next. So they had a revolt, and they overthrew him, and they drove him and his wife and 2 sons out of the town. And they were living in the forest as hermits. And at some point, another Brahmin came along and demanded that Vasantara give him their 2 sons as slaves. And Vasantara handed them over, and the Brahmin drove them down the road with a stick, weeping and wailing. And then Saka, the king of the gods, saw this was unfolding, what was happening, and he thought, the queen is next. We're going to have to protect her so doesn't fall into evil fate. So Saka descended to earth and took the form of a Brahmin and demanded of Vasantara, give me your wife. And Vasantara handed her over. Here she is. She's yours. And Saka took her away and kept her in a divine pavilion, equipped with all the comforts and sense pleasures, and said, just wait, my dear, and nothing will happen to you. You're safe here. And the story goes on. In the end, Vasantara gets all this back. His I think it was his brother, when a relative of his saw the boys for sale in the slave market and bought them to liberate them. And Saka returns the wife, and somehow he gets the kingdom back, and it all comes to a happy ending. But he had made this resolution to give everything away. So you can see that one of the things to note from this story is the extremes that a bodhisattva has to go to perfect the paramis. This is a superhuman level of giving. It's beyond the ordinary. It's beyond what anyone would completely divest themselves of even their family, of like everything dear to them, to complete this act of giving. That's the level required to become a Buddha. There's a short text in one of the minor books of the Khuddaka that describes the Bodhisattva path. And this is different you have to distinguish, if you're familiar with the Mahayana and the Bodhisattva vow and Bodhisattva path. This is a little different in theravada. A bodhisattva is one who's on their way to Buddhahood and has made a vow to attain Buddhahood, which is only, the vow is only real and binding when it's made before a living Buddha. And then it takes hundreds of lifetimes to perfect all the paramis. And the difficulty is of this path, the arduousness of it is emphasized in this short passage. It said if one was serious about undertaking the Bodhisattva path and you were told you first have to crawl on your belly 100 yojanas on sharp rocks and gravel, you would say no time to waste and jump down on your belly and start crawling. So there's a real extreme edge to the attainment of Buddhahood. One has to completely relinquish absolutely everything and devote oneself to that path. So it's a very rare individual who will undertake that. And the very beginning of developing of paramis is this one we're talking about, dana. It establishes the ground for a higher practice in the future. You know, one of the worst kind of mind states that is criticized heavily in the literature, in the Jatakas, for example, is that of a miser, someone who's wealthy and neither gives nor enjoys the wealth. He just piles up his gold and hoards it, and lives like a pauper, but also doesn't give any gifts. This is the opposite of a mind of dana. If one has a mind of dana, one takes joy in helping and giving to others. And there's other objects of dana than simply material goods. There is the, for example, the gift of abhaya, the gift of fearlessness, which means to make a safe space for others, to protect others, to be non-harming. If someone feels completely safe in your presence, then you're giving the gift of abhaya. And it's said that the highest gift is the gift of dhamma. It's a dhamma dana. And this can mean directly teaching or instructing. And if someone is acting as a teacher and one of the listeners attains to one of the states of liberation as a result of those teachings, that's a very good, very high karma for the teacher as well. It's a very bad karma to deliberately mislead in spiritual matters. Another way of making a dhammadana is not teaching immediately oneself, for example, but say, which is often done in Asia, someone will donate money or time to organize a printing of books, Dhamma books for free distribution. And that's considered a dhammadana. There's also dana that can be made without a specific or direct recipient. For example, if someone often comes up in the Jatakas, in the Dhammapada stories, someone makes merit by digging wells and building water tanks and so on. So, doing public works at one's own expense or labor. So just to help the general public. Or an example that's also given is King Asoka, who um, is credited with building many stupas and monasteries. The building of a stupa, and he was said to have built 84,000, but that number is probably greatly exaggerated. 84,000 is used in the ancient Indian text sort of like a zillion, meaning lots and lots. But he built 84,000 stupas, and those don't benefit any particular individual, but they rouse faith and devotion and reverence in those who see them. So it benefits the spiritual life of the whole community, of many people. So I think that's enough for an introduction to the Baramis and the first Barami of Dana. And let's stop there. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And by the way, if you're wondering, that picture in the thumbnail is from a traditional Thai painting of the Vasantara Jataka. That's King Vasantara on the elephant about to give it away. Okay, I'm not getting very much. Not seeing any questions coming up. So,
I have a question.
I got a question from the in-house group here. Yes.
When you were listing the kinds of merit, depending on what kind of dana one does,
Yeah.
All three were with the result in the mind.
Yes.
Like if you get something worldly,
Yes.
or better life, or
Yes.
better teaching, understand teaching. But
Yeah.
so I was surprised that there wasn't one that says you just do it for the sake of it.
Yeah. Well, there's also I neglected another factor that affects the quality of the dana or any meritorious act is whether it's associated with view or correct view or not. So if it's connected with samaditi, you understand the law of karma, then you will understand there's some karma associated with this act.
Yeah.
So there's always that sense. It's not like you can get away from that. There's always, if you have right view, there's going to be some merit coming from this act. If you don't have right view, if you think, well, I'm not going to get anything out of this whatsoever, I'll do it anyway, that's actually not right view. You don't understand the nature of reality, so it's less meritorious.
Yeah, that I don't quite understand.
But,
yeah.
Here's a question here. Would keeping the precepts guarantee human or higher rebirth, even though you haven't kept them before? No, there's no real guarantees. Who knows what previous karma you have? All you can do is increase your odds and work towards giving yourself the best chance possible. The only guarantees in terms of rebirth is if you once you attain stream entry, sotapanna, you'll never ever again take a lower rebirth. You'll always be human or better. Okay, the Jataka story is considered by some monks to be a later addition to the Pali Canon. How could a compassionate person like the Bodhisattva give away people like slaves? Yeah, that's always the Westerners' reaction to that story. That story is actually very much beloved in Asia, and it's considered very tragic that the king loved his sons, he loved his wife, but he had said he would give away anything that belonged to him if he was asked. So he had to keep the vow, even though it was so painful to him. And as for them being later stories, there's certainly a wide variation in the stories in the Jatakas. That some of them are probably even pre-Buddhist and just kind of adapted. But Santura is such a central part of the mythos that I think it was very early connected into the teachings. You have to also remember that in the Jatakas, there's two levels. There's the verse sections, which are considered canonical, meaning the traditional view is they were uttered by the Buddha. But the verses by themselves don't make a lot of sense without the framing story, which is the prose sections, and is 80% of the actual text, and those are considered commentary. Okay, now we got a lot more questions coming in. I got to scroll back to get the next one. I have not so much related question. I would like to go practice to a monastery during my holidays, but I don't have any criteria on how to choose where to go. I would, depending where you live, how much choice you've got, check out just go on their websites or talk to people that have visited them. You have to make your own decision on that. How should one practice to get right view? Is right effort necessary for developing right view? Well, all the path factors support each other, but right view, in a sense, is right at the outset, and it's the way. It's not so much a set of beliefs; it's a way you hold your mind, that you understand the world and yourself according to dhamma and not otherwise. So it really comes from yonaso manasikara, right reflection. So you're making an effort to see the impermanence and the emptiness and so on. Would Wat Pah Nanachat be a safe bet for the Ajahn Chah tradition? Yes, certainly would. I would highly recommend Wat Pah Nanachat. I don't know how easy it is to get into Thailand right now with the COVID 1984 restrictions in place. Venerable Bhante, can dana help people to attain stream entry? Yes, indirectly. It's not by itself, and this is a point that is made, that by itself it doesn't lead to liberation, but it's a great aid and makes it easier. One of the benefits of dana is said to be making the mind pliable. That the mind, by practicing this at the level of bodily form and material good, by practicing the abandonment and the generosity of giving over, then the mind becomes light and easy and joyous and easy to move into a spiritual direction. Where online can I talk to someone, maybe a junior monk who has some similar experience? I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't give you a specific reference there. My question is that of Kama Wapaka in regard to the cessation of unskillful actions and the following precepts. If a fisherman, upon discovering the Dhamma, then abstains from fishing and killing a fish, Does the gain of abstinence outweigh the old karma? Uh, it's not that it outweighs it, but it one of the phrases I've heard used is it pushes it to the back of the queue. The more recently made karma uh, will have some more weight, but um, if you continue to make good karma in the future, then there'll be less opportunity for the bad karma to manifest or come to fruit. But once a karma is made, until it reaches fruition, it's still there. What else? Okay, this looks like the second part of a question, but I don't see the first part. Stored seems to imply a location or tally of sorts. Oh, it's jumped around. Excuse me. Stored seems to imply a location or tally of sorts. Could merit be understood instead of a quality woven into the fabric of consciousness itself? Um, yeah, there's no location or place where karma is stored. At least not in the Theravada system. You check out the Yogacara and the Laya Vijnana, but in Theravada, there's no sense of that. It's a law of nature. It's a kind of, you think of it as like a field that's outside of time and space, an information field that stores the information or the data from your actions, and then has a creative aspect to create conditions in the future. But to think of it in any times in material terms would be an error. Even calling it a field is really just a metaphor or an analogy. Is merit attained by the receiver depending on how a gift is received? Yeah, it's meritorious to receive a gift graciously, just being, polite and having gratitude. It's not as meritorious as giving. Uh, what is the most effective way to let go of the 5 hindrances in a sitting? Um, the best way is the central thing is sense restraint, not going out through the senses. If you allow yourself to be distracted by physical sensations, sounds, and touches, and so on, then you're still caught in the hindrances. Is there any bad karma associated with hoarding money, such as in a retirement fund? No, that by itself is not a problem. Check the Sagala Sutta, where the Buddha actually, in advice to laymen, and he actually gives investment advice at one point in one of the verse sections. He talks about a wise person, how he divides his wealth. And half of it he puts back into his property, like he develops his farm or his business. A quarter of it he saves for a rainy day or an emergency, and a quarter of it he lives on. So that's a kind of a proportion of maybe in modern terms you could say the difference between like the half that's plowed back into your business is what's ever invested into funds or stocks or whatever. No, for a layperson, it's just practical. You have to, as long as you're living a lay life, you have to take care of business, so to speak. how long would you recommend to stay in a monastery if I go for the first time? Um, I don't know what. It really depends on your attention. If you're seriously thinking of maybe ordaining one day, I would suggest a longer stay, like up to 3 months. But if you just want to, you know, experience that and see it, even just a few days would be good enough. Let's see. I recall an Ajahn referring to an analogy where during the death process, a skillful practitioner could jump from the falling ladder and not accept rebirth in any realm, thereby attaining nirvana. Yeah, it's possible to attain liberation at the moment of death. It's not easily done, because you have to consider it's not like a get out of jail free card. Like, oh, at the moment of death, I'll just start meditating right then. You know, you have to consider that when you're close to death, your body will probably be racked with pain and your mind will be confused. You might be in a hospital pumped full of drugs. You're far from in an ideal condition. But there is the one advantage is that the attachment to the body falls away, and there may be a moment possible escape in there. Is there a difference between karma gotten from giving food to the sangha in person and karma gotten from donating money through the internet? Yeah, it's more meritorious giving directly from the hand. It's still meritorious both ways. It's a matter of degree. Is something like dream yoga from the Mahayana tradition present in some schools of theravada? Not explicitly or specifically. The Buddha does talk about dreams a little bit, but doesn't develop a yoga for it. The Buddha said that there are different causes for dreams. There are some dreams are visions of the future, some are visions of the past, some are messages from devas, and some are just wind in the belly. I always like to tell that to people who make too much fuss about dreams and interpreting dreams. So most of them are just wind in the belly. Okay, I think we're kind of winding down. So I'll take my leave, and next week we'll move on. I think the next one on the list is sila, morality, and we're going to go through the 10 paramis. So that's what we'll be doing for the next 10 weeks. Okay, bye now.